there, Dave here, along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to a quick live video. So good to see you all with us. Help the YouTube algorithm find us right now. Let them know we're on at this weird, different time. Smash the like button. Say hi to us in the live chat. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're all the good places. About 30 minutes ago, Chris texted me saying that he bought $10 million on the SPY on all of this positive, upbeat news that a stimulus deal might be happening. So that's why we're on right now. Chris, what have you done?
What did I do? Well, I've done a lot this morning, dude. God, where do you even start? I wasn't planning on fast trading today. I really wasn't planning on doing it yesterday either. But I mean, first of all, this morning I was focused on, like, Trump hadn't tweeted in 10 hours. How weird would that was my main focus this morning, because I was like, he sounded like he was, I know people like, oh, he coughed 2 times on Hannity last night. Like, I get that, but at the same time, he was on, he was on Hannity for, pretty long, 20 minutes, and
he was on various Fox Business and Fox News for like a couple hours all day yesterday. It's just like this all day thing. So, but he is back on Twitter again.
But like, we run these scenarios, right? And one of the scenarios that we model, that we have to have a prepared mind for and be ready to trade, is a scenario that Trump does relapse. So that's a scenario that we're keeping a really close eye on. And when I started, I didn't even realize that he hadn't tweeted, and someone from our community had kind of pinged me on that on Twitter. I was like, oh, they're right. He really hasn't tweeted in 10 hours. But at the same time, I knew he was fine last night. He has the Rush Limbaugh show that he was going on 12 Eastern today, the radio show. And I figured, he said he was going to get tested today, right? So I figured he was maybe with doctors getting tested, maybe preparing for the show. But like, that was what I was focused on. And then Pelosi's having a press conference. My buddy Crockett finally told me where to go watch this stuff live. So I'm watching Pelosi's press conference live. She kind of never really got involved with the stimulus talk in the press release. It was all about the 25th Amendment, how they're going to create this thing in the future, right? So the president, if they're incapable, they have a way to remove them efficiently. But then people started tweeting about comments. McConnell put a comment out about stimulus not happening. Like, it's not happening. And I was like, whoa. I knew that, but the fact that he said that, I shorted American Airlines. I did another 20,000 shares short on American Airlines. And then the next thing you know, now Pelosi is tweeting that she is, I think, hopeful of reaching a deal, an actual full deal, like full pandemic deal with Munchkin, Mnuchin, Munchkin. And so, then I was like, whoa, is this just being optimistic? And so then I was just like, I took off my AA short, and I just kind of watched. And then when the tweet came in, and I forget which service I was using, I saw this tweet first about Trump. Basically, there's news coming out of Trump's, not Trump, but his, the guy that speaks for him, right? His chief of staff, basically stating that they are go for a deal. Like, they have a deal that, like, all of a sudden, out of the blue, the tide turned really quickly today to, there's a deal. Trump has approved the deal. He's basically saying Trump's approved the deal. Pelosi seems somewhat optimistic. Like, talks are happening. We could have a deal that I don't think gets done because of the Senate, right? But that's a whole nother story, right? That's a whole nother storyline.
No, but we've seen the market moving towards this. We think stimulus is going to happen, then we don't think it's going to happen. This up and down, and the stock chart on the SPY basically indicates that. I have these 2 orange dotted lines. This is where I shorted the SPY, and this is where I got out of the SPY. So it's just been going up for multiple days in a row. And I think you're right that it's going to keep going up as long as this promise of stimulus is there. And then when and if more negative news comes, it's just so hard to play, though. So that's what I wanted to hear, how you're super long right now, margined.
30 fully margined, almost fully margined, because I know I tried to place another trade because I've been placing other trades. We can talk about this today. I tried to place another trade 20 minutes ago, couldn't, because it was like, you have no more capital left. And, so that means I'm borrowing 16, 17, 18 million dollars, something like that. So I'm fully margined. So as you know, Dave, I'm not going to keep this position on like through the weekend, right? So like this is just it's a trade on these conversations that are happening. I'm up right now 10K in the trade, virtually nothing, like considering how big the trade is, right? So it's not it's a 30,000 share trade in SPY, right? So it's $10,400,000. It's a huge intraday trade. But again, I'm following the mention. It's worked really well for me yesterday. I figured let's do it again today. It's not something I normally do, but does fall under the realm of kind of social arb. I should technically get out of that trade right now. If
you're doing this as social arb, you'd have already been out. If you're doing this as a momentum, you think that sentiment is going to remain positive up until a certain point. You stay in until that point where the sentiment changes, or with someone.
Dave, no, I'm getting out of half it right now because as I'm saying this to myself, it doesn't make sense as a social arb trade for me to stay in. I just put an order in to get out of half. Now I'm moving the market down. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I might be. It's a $5 million trade. All right, so I got out of half of it. Okay, so and I might get out of the other half of it here pretty quick too. I'm really just watching the news flow, and if I feel I have a slight edge, even if it's a 5 to 10 second edge, all day, all week long, what I have seen is that you can easily get an edge on these trades. Now, it's probably not the biggest deal for a small investor, but for us, if you could throw 10 million in and pick up a quick 10 or 20 grand by getting a 10-second edge on this news flow, because the news flow is really unstructured right now. It's coming from a lot of different places. It's coming from a lot of different Twitter accounts. You have to be following the right accounts. You have to be prepared to pull the trigger really quickly, right? So it's what we call interpretive data. Anytime that the market's moving on interpretive data, there's usually a window to arbitrage that interpretive data. So, and this is interpretive data because it's people saying things, right? And who's saying it? What are they saying? How are you going to interpret that? It kind of takes you a few seconds to register all that. And the more you're prepared to trade on what you think might be said, the quicker you could move on that, right? And so that's all this is. I think it's interesting, and I don't do it often, but there's such an opportunity to do it right now if you're watching this stuff.
Do you want to know what I've done?
Yeah.
I've done this over the past couple of days and wasn't really super sure about what I was doing, but I have, from time to time, I like to dabble with triple leveraged ETFs.
Oh no, yeah.
I've taken my entire retirement account and moved it into the TQQQ, the triple leveraged Nasdaq 100 ETF.
Oh, Dave, there you go.
100% of my retirement savings.
There you go. You did that, didn't you? Did you have the whole account for like a year?
I did. I had that was in UDOW, the S&P triple leveraged, and UDOW, or UPRO. Sorry. So I was in the triple leveraged S&P UPRO for about a year as the market was just on fire, and it was killing it for me. Absolutely amazing. That was probably the best investment that I had of anything in my portfolio. And then, the big downturn started happening in March, and there was a point where I was like, mathematically, I know that I should just stay in it. And if you do the math and like line up where it is now, it didn't. I probably should have stayed in it, but I got out on the way down, and then I'm now back in on triple leveraged on instead of the SPY, I'm in the Nasdaq 100.
Gotcha. That's it. That's
my
interesting.
I don't think of my retirement account as money for retirement. I think of it as a tax-free trading account where I don't care about huge gains, right?
Yeah. But don't you think I mean, it's interesting that you picked the QQQ because, like, I feel like all my whole portfolio right now is heavily leaning in towards our Biden trades.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of those trades, don't get me wrong, tech's part of it, but a lot of those trades are kind of more S&P. I mean, it's green energy, it's like it's home builders, it's all the stuff that's going to be subsidized um, under a Biden election. Then again, the banks won't do very well on that Biden move. So I guess I don't know. I just, me, I like to be more actively involved in precision picking the winners and losers. But you've done very well in the past with that strategy, and it saves you a lot of anxiety too, Dave, doesn't it?
Well, for being in something that even when you place that trade, there's big warnings on the screen saying this vehicle is not designed to be held overnight and all of that. I'm going to make a video about leveraged investing and how I do it on Hey There Dave here, so subscribe to that. But I know Jordan is on vacation and is going to have to bounce soon, so I want to get his take on everything that we've talked about, from where he thinks the stimulus, the timing for that is, and any trades that he's considering. I know that he hasn't done anything yet, but he's the most rational among us, so I want to get his take, and I know everyone watching would too.
It would make more sense for me if you were doing the TQQQ in your just in your normal accounts, right? Because that's the advantage. Then you're not paying taxes on the gains while they're accruing underneath, right? So you're not actively trading those stocks underneath there, and so you can just let that thing go and go and go. But that's just me. I don't know. I'm not doing anything on this stuff because I'm not in a spot where I can react to the news quick enough. Like, I'm about to be walking around the park and all these things, so I'm keeping my portfolio in the things that I'm comfortable with owning. I'm not playing any of the news. I just can't react fast enough.
That's pretty much what I did for the first half of my vacation in February, March. And then I said, I'm staying inside. I've got to be tied to a computer right now.
I'm not going on vacation till this thing is over.
But we're not.
Right?
I don't think we're in that kind of a volatile setting that we were back then. That was a very different time, and
that was a very volatile setting. Yeah.
So
if we drop 5%, I can deal with it. It's not awesome, but I don't think we're dropping 40.
By the way, I just want to tease a few things I want to talk about for anyone watching right now. We're going to talk about GameStop before this kind of live show is over. We're going to talk about a couple others. You can talk about the baby boom or lack of a baby boom and its impact on a couple stocks we're looking at. Also going to talk about Halloween and how that's impacting a few different tickers. But so Jordan, I agree with you. You're out.
Yeah. Talk about missing out on a big one, though, with GameStop.
Well, I know, and we'll talk about that. Here's the thing. All right, let's get into GameStop for a sec. Here's the thing. So Chewy, the Chewy founder, all right? Yeah. So he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire, and he put almost all of his money, evidently, into Apple and Wells Fargo, right? And then back last year, he randomly put a ton of money into GameStop, and I was like, what? GameStop? And so he has this idea for GameStop that he wants GameStop to kind of become more like Amazon or Chewy. And what that means is he wants them just to he wants all the GameStop stores to be basically like distribution centers, but to do an incredible amount of e-commerce business. He wants to massively increase the amount of stuff they carry, do more business through the mail and through digital. And the one obvious area is, you do that. They have that used game program at GameStop, where you're trading in games, and that's the most profitable part of GameStop, is that used game trade-in division. I've known that for years. I actually met with GameStop, gosh, I don't know, my old life in the mid 2000s. Helping them build a loyalty program when I was at eRewards. But he wants to move that like Netflix, move it online to where you can trade in your games, just mail in your games to GameStop, right? Okay, yeah, why not, right? I'm like, okay, cool, that kind of makes sense. Why not? Are there some marginal improvements he could make to the business? Possibly. I think, though, this guy might be a little crazy. I see GameStop. I don't know. I see gaming going so digital. Maybe, I mean, maybe he can get, you know what he should do? You know what's really hot right now is like collectibles and sporting cards and all this stuff. And like, I'm looking into a few companies in that space, and I feel like that's more of a natural fit for GameStop. If they can get involved in that business,
Just
they
the
can
business
become,
around games instead of the business of games, which people are just buying online now.
yeah. And Jordan, they've kind of been doing the around the
Yeah.
game thing for a few years now. Like Funko Pops, they sell all that collectible stuff. They sell that stuff, but what if they became less about new merchandise and more of like, what if GameStop became like a swap house, right? Like a swap house where it's a safe place where you can exchange merchandise, right? That you're trading like online, both through the like, so basically you could do it national. Think of it like Carvana, right? So you know how Carvana has this hub and spoke model to where it's all, and they're now a $35 billion company, and we know the auto industry. All they're doing is they have basically warehouses where they're warehousing cars. You could buy any car anywhere in the country. They have a way to ship it from one distribution center to another really cheaply because they're not having to send these cars to your house necessarily. And then once it gets to that distribution center, it becomes last mile delivery, or you can pick it up from Carvana. So what if GameStop, they have all these locations, right? Little tiny locations. They could kind of easily merge into kind of like the eBay, but kind of hybrid version of eBay for collectibles and sporting cards. It's trusted, right? You could buy anything from anyone. You can go to your local GameStop, just hand it in there, and they'll facilitate getting it to the regional center where the other person can pick it up, or last mile delivery.
I guess, but are these things
right?
that expensive to where it's even worth dealing with it, right? Like you're talking about like T-shirts and little Funko Pops. I mean, they're like $20, $50.
But on
piece,
used
like
merchandise, Jordan, they don't have to spend any money on inventory. They can leverage their brand.
Still, they've got costs of like moving stuff around, managing it, dealing with like trying to price it and all this stuff. I mean, it still takes time.
But that's kind of happening already. So it's really just kind of the pass through, and it allows people to have more of a visual element to that world. Because like that world right now, it's all done through photography.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to figure out what he thinks the vision is. GameStop, let's talk about why it's up huge. That's not why it went up yesterday. It went up yesterday because it's kind of like Nikola and GM. They did a deal with Amazon to basically use Amazon Web Services. I mean, like, they became a client of Amazon, and it sounds like they did get some value add kind of exchange where maybe some preferential stuff with Amazon for their Xbox unit. So they're doing more with Xbox. I think there's kind of a notion that maybe these guys have a tighter relationship with Amazon now than they did before because they offered to do this deal with Amazon. But honestly, there's no reason GameStop should have gone up yesterday. It's actually insane. But it's a short squeeze, right? Think about how well that stock shorted.
Yeah.
It's just a short squeeze. It has to be. So I know a lot of people are just interested in GameStop, but let's look at why they went up, right? The narrative doesn't really make sense except for a short squeeze. So I'm staying out of it. You know what I'm also not doing is I'm not shorting it. So it's like these stocks can be really, really dangerous, right? Like I'm just not it's not always reality that moves them, you know?
Yeah.
So, Jordan, I don't blame you for not doing a lot of these kind of intraday trades because you can't do this stuff and then be hiking around the woods.
Yeah, right? I mean, I literally get no cell signal. So I was out mountain biking this morning, and my cell, 2 hours of no, it's beautiful, right? No messages, nobody talking to me, no little badges going off. It was awesome. And then this afternoon, we'll do the same thing. We'll go out to Rocky Mountain National Park and no cell service for 2 hours. So I literally can't make these trades.
You still have that like moose or elk that's visiting you?
Yeah, he's not in the back. He's in the front now. He's in the front yard. And we got a buddy. Buddy the elk got a new friend. So we got two elks now.
Does that mean your kids can't like just walk around your house though, right?
Pretty chill elk. Like we tell them as long as we're outside, they can be outside. There's like a little beach in the river that's right behind us, and they like to go dig in the sand there. And so I'll, pour a glass of wine, grab a chair, walk down there, and just keep an eye out while they're playing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of work yesterday, and I want to talk about this. I did a lot of work yesterday on a trade that was kind of surfaced in our community, and I feel terrible. I don't remember the name of the community member right this very moment.
I also did a little bit of work on it too. I'm still mixed. I'm curious to see what you think.
Okay, so let me tell you what it is for anyone watching right now. The trade or the thesis. So there's two things going on. There's a thesis that's going on in our community that there might be a pregnancy boom due to the pandemic. Now, what's interesting is historically, pandemics have not led to pregnancy booms. In fact, they've led to like pregnancy droughts. So, the scientific or historical benchmark would be that we're not going to see that happen. I could play devil's advocate and say, okay, but this is not just a pandemic where everyone's stuck in their house for a year. It's also the biggest stimulus that we've ever had in the history of our country. And we're handing out money like crazy. And to a lot of people, some people invest that money, some people spend it, some people pay down credit card debt. And perhaps to a lot of people, that kind of it's a sense of financial stability. They have a little bit of savings. They feel a little bit more comfortable about having a kid. Maybe the dad's home more than he used to. I mean, we won't go with all reasons why people get pregnant during a pandemic, but I don't know. Like, I just wanted to treat this as a thesis that I would test. And people always ask, like, what's the process of a social arb trade? A social arb trade always starts with a narrative and a thesis. So I just kind of told you what the narrative was, or that underlines the thesis. And that would be a net positive for companies like, gosh, I've got the name of the company now. The kid clothing company, Oshkosh.
It's Carter's.
Carter's, yeah, Carter's. So I did a little work to see, okay, first of all, what does Carter's data look like? And Carter's data has been pretty good this summer, but really started to spike up in September, right? Like the web traffic spiked up huge, and the G trend search traffic kind of lifted up, not huge, but abnormally earlier than it normally does. Normally it doesn't spike until November. It spiked in September. So, okay, something's going on. Maybe there is a baby boom. What's so fascinating about the thesis is that if there is a baby boom, companies like Carter's they will thrive for years from that, because once you bring this new set of babies into our world, they will then need clothing for like 5 to 10 years, and they sell up to age 10 now at Carter's. So, and for people that don't know what Carter's is, they are basically the world's largest manufacturer of baby clothes. A lot of the stuff they sell at Amazon, Walmart,
kids'
Target.
Clothes. I mean, our kids still have. I mean, all their nighttime clothes are Carter.
Pajamas, all of it. They're super cash, right? So like casual clothes,
totally,
pajamas.
If you just want casual, inexpensive clothes, that's kind of their wheelhouse.
I haven't
At least
done the
0,
research into this yet, but as you're
10.
talking, I just pulled up a Google Trends chart just for the search term baby clothes over 5 years, and there was a big uptick right in April.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
right, but then if you go for baby shower, right? If you go to baby shower, it's actually way down, which is also interesting. Because you would expect that there'd be less baby showers, but that also means less gifts, less purchasing. So that's why I'm mixed on this one.
Yeah, so Dave, I would say, that's a sustained spike, right? We love the sustained spike, but here's the problem.
As baby showers dropped and people weren't doing that in person in April, they search for baby clothes probably online, because now I can't go to the Target to buy it. So now I'm going to, where do I buy it?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Dave, I looked into every single pregnancy tag that is imaginable, from just the word pregnancy to, here's a great one, pregnancy test. I'd pull 5-year charts on baby, OBGYN near me, like anything related to getting pregnant. And I'm telling you with a fairly high conviction that I do not see any evidence of a spike in pregnancies since the
Is there
start of the
hospital
pandemic.
data that do they show, like, do they have hospital data for births? Is that, oh, I guess those wouldn't be happening yet because we're still early in the
No, Jordan, I looked for that, but you
Yeah.
know what, Jordan?
We're too early.
Here's
We're
the
too
thing.
early 6 months into the pandemic. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, Jordan. Like, honestly, you don't need to go that deep.
Yeah.
If there's increased pregnancies, you should definitely see a pop in pregnancy tests. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
definitely. So I just really don't see enough of a spike. I'm not going to say there's no spike, but there's not like a massive, massive, massive increase, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a small bump, but we know there was definitely not a. It went down quite a bit in March, right? Because nobody want to get pregnant in the start of a pandemic. That's
Right.
like horrifyingly scary, right? Not knowing if you get to the hospital or not if you have a baby. So I don't know, guys. Like, I am not sold on the thesis, but in the process of researching the trade, I ended up doing so much work on Carter's last night, just the company Carter's, reading through earnings reports. I did a bunch of phone calls that I'm not going to share on today's episode because I just don't have them queued up yet. I taped myself doing like 5 or 6 channel check calls, okay?
Of course he did.
So,
that's what he does. It's awesome.
Yeah, so here's the deal. On next week's episode, I don't know, at some point next week, we'll queue them up. Make sure you set this. I want to share these calls with you guys because they're pretty phenomenal, honestly. I called like 6 or 7 Carters, and sure enough, they are seeing a surge, for the most part, in demand.
Maybe
not only are they seeing a
maybe we'll talk about that on Monday if there's not some crazy news happening over the weekend. Tuesday is our big episode for the Apple event that is going to be announcing iPhone 12, which I'm super excited about. So that's Tuesday. That's going to be our scheduled, but we're going to be on every day. So maybe we'll talk about your we'll listen in on your phone calls on Monday.
When you hear these phone calls, it's so fascinating. All I'm saying is, listen, I'm going to tell you this much. I did open up a position in Carter's today, okay? But not because I think there's like a pregnancy boom. I just think that they are benefiting from people not having to get all their stuff online or through Walmart, Target, where they sell all the Carter stuff. And you know what? Your Carter's is so casual that all the clothes that people are buying right now, it's a perfect fit because everybody wants casual clothes, pajama. Your kids are like basically living in pajamas, right, Jordan? Half the day.
So I mean, they don't really have to change. Sometimes they just change because they want to get out of their pajamas. But yeah.
So I like the trade. I did a lot of research. I'll talk more in our next episode about the deep dive research I did into Carter's. This is just like a little teaser today, but I did open up a modest sized position in Carter's today. We'll see where it goes.
I know that Jordan,
all right, guys,
you've been here with us twice as long as you agreed to, so you need to bounce and go have
15,
a vacation.
I got 30. Well, I had to hear what Chris thought about Carter's because we had talked about it yesterday, and I was, I did a little bit of research and I was iffy on it. Sounds like he's mildly iffy, but slightly pro on it.
Is it in sync with what you think, though, Jordan?
Yeah, I think your argument makes more sense to me than the baby boom argument, which I'm not seeing either, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean Carter's is a bad trade.
No, but they do a really good job with online, and we buy all the Carter stuff online, so it makes sense to me.
Yeah, you got, like, in this environment, what have we learned? You got to find the companies that master online, and Carter's is nailing online, and they're making all their stores into distribution hubs, right, for online, and they're mailing and packing from the stores, so all the inventory and all the Carters can be sent out. It's really cool what they're doing. We'll talk more about it next week, but that's an interesting trade.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
Hey, when do you get home, dude? When do you get home?
I get home depends on if we do a all-day drive or overnight, either tomorrow or Sunday.
All right, enjoy your last day, dude.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Later.
Bye.
All right, so I during the beginning of this, because the software we use to restream to all of these places is garbage, even though I think we're invested in that company that provides that. I was not able to get chat on the screen at the beginning, but there were a few that I thought we should just go through. Pedro wants to know, Chris, did you already sell the 10 million of SPY? Did you take the profit? I just want to kind of recap. You went into this morning, you bought 10 million of SPY. During this video, you actually sold 5 million of that. And where are you right now? Still 5 million long in SPY?
Still, yeah, I still have half, 5.2.
Which means you're still about $10 million on margin?
Yeah, at least.
All right.
Yeah,
just checking. I just try to keep track because I know that you aren't, so I'm just trying to help. People love our random lives. That's good. Dinesh wants to know if he's basically saying that Jordan and I need to have a talk again with you because you're going overboard. That was Dinesh. David Jones says that the SPY is bull flagging on low vol, result in higher and less bad news. We are not at all technical traders. The only reason I look at a chart is just to have some historical perspective on what the range that a stock might have traded in, or if we're trending up or down. But I'm not drawing lines on and looking for resistance and all of that. And as much as I'm not doing it, Chris is doing it even less because he is like anti-chart. He doesn't even want to look at the stock price. He just wants to buy based on what you're thinking.
Yes, yeah, I don't really look at the stock price, honestly. When I bought that SPY, I had no idea if SPY was up or down for the day. Didn't care. I just put it in. Is only based on information flow. That's it.
That's great. Pedro super chat, thank you. He says thanks for doing this daily. He loves what we're doing for the community. We'd love to do this. I mean, it may become time prohibitive to go on for as long as we tend to. It would be great if we could get down to the point of just going on for 15 minutes on and off and be done with it for like quick little updates. But once we start talking, this is how, when you call me, Chris, on the phone, we end up talking for an hour when it's just like, oh, I just have one little quick update. And then so why not just share this with everyone?
Yeah.
Javier says, Chris, I'm working right now at my restaurant. Could you check Invisalign web traffic year over year, July, August, September, G-Trends, Twitter showing amazing recovery. So that's one that we want you to put on your list.
I'll do right now. I'll pull a form right now.
Okay, cool. And those are the only ones that I highlighted from. I basically had to go through, screenshot, circle the ones that I wanted to get back to, which is the only form of organization because the chat moves so fast. And as I try to find one that we want to address, everything else moves past it. So. But thank you guys for being involved. I can only look up
Invisalign if I know how to spell it.
We have 205 thumbs ups. Normally, we won't even start talking until we have 200. So we have at least, I can't even tell, 800 people watching us on YouTube and more on the other platforms. If you haven't smashed that thumbs up button, what are you doing? Come on.
Please do.
I mean, it's the only way for YouTube to know that we're even doing this.
I feel like everybody already knows that Invisalign is hot again because after all that time cooped up, people are finally able to go out and get their Invisaligns up. But listen, Invisalign, their web traffic has been up since June. It started climbing. July, August was about even with July, and then it popped up 10% again. Well, not quite 10%, 5% in September from August. And year over year, it's up huge. September is up, like 60% from last September. But really, it just has a really nice climb starting. It was dipped big in April, coming up in May, coming up in June, coming up in July, went flat in August, and now it's starting to climb a bit more, just 5% month over month in September. So that's Invisalign. By the way, there were a bunch of requests on our Discord channel, and I put all I get web traffic, results going back a couple of years. So everyone wants to know what stuff looks like year over year, and I'm happy to share that with y'all. I do have a couple more that people are asking about that I'm happy to share. Let me see here. Schwinn, by the way, Dave. Mm-hmm. Schwinn it's down nominally from August, but up 150% in September from last September, right? So, and I really, hey, if the baby trade is hot right now, that means that the company that owns Schwinn, and I think it's like Cannondale, they also own that, it's like that Canadian stock, DIIBF, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They also own that baby seat company, right? Like in your car seat, like baby car seats. And then they also own a company that sells merchandise desk over Wayfair.
Yeah. All
like,
three sectors that are just
on
on fire during the pandemic. This one little random company that you found. You're not still in that, are you?
Someone in our Discord community did. I did not find them, but I did go in on them, and I'm happy I did. Crocs web traffic is up 50% year over year in September. Wow. Oh, here's what everyone wants to know about our propane trade, Dave.
Yeah.
So propanewarehouse.com, which is one of the big internet sites, their traffic is up 125% year over year for September. Suburban Propane, which is one of the two companies I'm invested in for propane, their web traffic is up 50% year over year in September. And now I'm realizing, Dave, I didn't even pull web traffic yet for the third company I'm in, which is who makes the UGI. They make the propane tanks that you exchange at the grocery store.
Blue Rhino or something?
Not Blue Rhino, the other one. Shoot, I gotta find them out. I'm gonna look them up right now. Propane tanks. It's Amerigas.
Yeah.
You know those guys. I'm gonna look up Amerigas. Right. I don't know that people really go to Amerigas.com. Quite honestly.
I mean, I went when I was trying to figure out, their availability and that sort of thing, but only for research purposes.
Yeah, I'm pulling their chart right now. It's loading. You know what? Amerigas is not up as much. They've been flat since April, popped huge in March, been flat since April. But even though they're flat since April, they are up about 50% from last September. So, I mean, they're up significantly. They've been up all summer long, and they're up another 50. They're still up 50% year over year. So not a big spike, but looking good. So I haven't sold any of my UGI or any of my SPH on the propane trade yet, and I'm keeping a close eye on the weather.
And I want to mention that Nolan, I just saw in the scrolling chat that he has just posted his new video about Roku on his YouTube channel, the GOTR investing channel. So you can check that out. Oh, he
has. Yeah. Okay, we should check that out for sure. Also, speaking of Roku, Dave, do you know that they're on Amazon? They're like on Amazon now as well, like Amazon Fire, like
Roku as the service, as a thing that you can.
The service, yeah.
Yeah, Roku's everywhere. Like Roku comes built into TVs.
No, but I mean, they're actually. I thought they had an enhanced relationship that they just announced. I could be wrong with Amazon. Listen, Roku's killing it. I feel like as heavy as we went into Roku back when we did, Dave, we should have went in way heavier. Was that earlier this summer when they dipped?
It was, yeah. Let me look up how much Roku I have. It's not in the what do you call it? I don't have more than 10% of my portfolio in Roku. It's not above that line.
I have 600. Ready for this, Dave? I have 670,000 in Roku. My gain is 325,000. So I am up over double, 2x in my Roku. Love that company, man. Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I was in and out of Roku. I don't remember where I ended up right now. So let me just see if I can find that. Roku. I am up $135,000 on a what is my market value is. So I basically put in 100,000 and no, I put in $88,000. I bought $88,000 worth of Roku, and it's up 135 to 223,000. So yeah.
So Dave, just so you know, their web traffic is trending down a bit from August to September.
For people
and
going to
August was
Roku.com
down
from a browser, right?
from a browser, yeah. So they are trending down the last couple of months slightly, but that's kind of in sync with what they did last year. They were pretty much even between July, August, and September. We're still at highly elevated levels from last year. So September right now is up about 50% from last September. So still highly elevated and looking good on Roku from that standpoint.
I need to rework my system to have a 2-shot with a screen share. I have a lot of things to do.
I can't see any. I guess the issue. Oh, I guess I can see comments on. Are we on YouTube?
Yeah,
Dave?
we're on
So I can
YouTube. We're
pop
on
YouTube?
Facebook. We're on
Okay.
Periscope, Twitter. I think we're on Twitch. I think we're everywhere. I don't know.
Okay, because I don't have the comments on our stream, so I'll check them out on YouTube now so I can see. Sorry, guys. Pulling it up right now. See your comments. And I gave us a thumbs up, Dave.
Oh, well, thank you.
There's another. Okay, Peloton. I know this is why I wish you were in Peloton, because I know I hate talking about it when you're not in it, but guys, it's exceeding my expectations right now. I'm not touching it. I'm not adding, I'm not selling. I'm sticking with my 35,000 shares.
It is definitely exceeding my expectations right now.
It's over $4 million. But listen, Peloton is not a stock that I check every day. It's not a stock I continue to research every day. I'll get in on Peloton once every 2 weeks. I'll do a mini deep dive and like reaffiliate myself with all the latest social buzz on Peloton, what's happening, what I'm missing. So I don't really have anything new to share. GAN, the New Jersey report out, Crockett? Is it actually out? Is that why it's up today? Crockett said GAN New Jersey report. Let me see here. Maybe that's why it's up. I need to know this. On New Jersey. I'm Googling guys, for those of y'all that don't know, New Jersey and Pennsylvania, once a month, they put out their gambling reports, and it tells you the degree to which online advertising, online gaming is up or down. Oh, it came out yesterday. So that's what's driving. I totally missed that. So that's what's driving GAN yesterday and today. All right. Cool. Yeah, I still got my GAN. I'm down to 15,000 shares, Dave. I don't think I'm selling any more GAN. I might add GAN back in. I want to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sticking with GAN. It's the only stock where I'm net negative in right now. I'm down $100,000 in GAN, but I still have 30,000 shares, and I like GAN for the long term. It's one of my bigger holdings.
Guys,
the thing that scares me is it's such a brand new company and their management, and there's a lot of things that concern me about it, but I like what they're doing and how they're doing it.
A few things I just want to comment on. AmeriGas is not private. They got acquired last year by UGI, unless I'm losing my mind. Another company that I own. Guys, they're saying Graco. I don't know. It's a Canadian company that we invest in that owns Schwinn and the Baby Seat company. I don't know if it's Graco or not. Their subsidiary. Hold on a second here, guys. I'm not getting more Vista today. I have plenty of Vista. I have 105,000 shares of Vista. I still love the trade. I love the trade, but only on a Biden win. So if Trump comes out this weekend and comes out really strong. By the way, Trump, Dave, is getting an online doctor's visit. I mean, he's doing a doctor's visit on TV on Fox tonight, I think.
What? That is going to pull huge ratings.
Yeah. So, I mean,
is it DocuSign? I mean, what is it? Teledoc?
No. He's you know that new doctor that he has who's like says whatever he wants him to say. He's going to go on one of the Fox shows with him and like give him a not diagnosis, like do a little checkup with him.
Oh, just totally staged. I thought maybe he would totally just log in from the Oval Office and get on a computer and talk to a real doctor, not his like medical, like his White House doctor, but like just a real
No,
doctor.
President Trump will undergo a medical examination on Fox News. The examination will be done by Dr. Mark Siegel, who has, quote, repeatedly pushed coronavirus misinformation during his appearances on Fox News, according to Axios. I'm going to stay apolitical, guys. I don't know if that statement's true or not, but that's what's happening tonight. So I'm going to go into this weekend remaining really long, keeping my Biden stocks. If Trump spectacularly changes the tide this weekend, I might lighten up on Biden stocks come Monday, but for now, I'm sticking with it. Okay, so someone here is asking about Claris. Claris is an interesting company. They own Black Diamond. They own, Black Diamond is a company a long time ago. The founder split off from Patagonia. It was like half it became Patagonia, the other half became Black Diamond. Black Diamond does a lot of hiking stuff. They're getting into shoes and apparel. They also have a pretty substantial bullet division, like ammunition division. So the Claris has been up quite a bit. Like it's not a widely covered stock, but at the same time, it's, people know that Claris is doing well because of the ammunition trade, right? So it's definitely something that I'm considering. In fact, you know what? I put in a small market order right now to open up a small position in Claris. I just did it for the first time, a few thousand shares. I think it's an interesting company. I did spend time studying Claris yesterday. It's just a weird little holding company that does have a nice exposure to ammo. My issue with Claris is if I have to get out of that stock quickly, because it looks like something's happening to Biden it would lead us to believe Trump would win the election, it's not as liquid of a stock for me to get out of. And so that's the big negative for me. What else you guys got? Any questions? I'm on YouTube. Sorry, guys. I can only see the YouTube questions right now. Carvana video. Carvana is honestly a company that I've been looking at and researching since it IPO'd, and I'm just not ready to do that episode yet. It's a really big story, and I'm still researching it. I'm not shorting it. I'm not long. I'm still in the process of reviewing Carvana. I will say this. I think that Carvana is a company that is high up on my list to short if and when we see the light at the end of the tunnel for this pandemic. Okay, I think a lot of the traction that Carvana is seeing right now is due to people being reluctant to go out to a used car lot and then sit in a car salesman's office for an hour and an F&I office for half an hour to buy a car. Okay, so I think they have tremendous tailwinds while we're under the pandemic, kind of like Zoom, kind of like Teladoc. You could make a case that the Carvana business model being operated a bit more efficiently will do well long term. But will it do as well in 2022 as it is during a pandemic? I don't think so. I also think there's a lot of structural issues with the company's management team. I simply don't trust anything about Carvana. And I'll get into that when we eventually do our episode. So I don't want to short it here, but at a certain point, it's like a top 3 to 4 short when we come out of the pandemic for me.
Hey, Chris. Raymond Dayron wants to know why you don't buy protective puts on these used positions you're taking with low liquidity.
So if you're buying a position that has low liquidity in the equity, the liquidity in the options is going to be even lower, right? So you can't really protect that with options because, I mean,
except
it's just,
the
harder.
Intrinsic value will be there, but you're not going to have, whichever Greek represents the part that is extra on top, you're not going to have.
Correct, guys. And you just can't trade options. It seems like it's really easy to use options for insurance when you're trading small dollars. But if you're trading $1 million or 2 million or $500,000 or whatever it is, and then you're trying to protect that with options on a stock that barely trades options, the market makers they'll slaughter you. They'll absolutely slaughter you.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a long time. I'm trading options since I was 13 years old through my older brother's account. And as you know, if anyone that's read my book and has learned about me, I learned that lesson a long time ago. I do not. I'm really wary of trading illiquid options. If you're trading big money, if you're trading small dollars, it's usually okay.
Any interest in the ARK ETFs? I love them, but I'm not in
No,
them right
Dave.
now.
No,
You
no,
hate
I'm
ETFs.
not. You talking about like ARK, her ETF? No, because like I just rather pick the companies I want to invest in from the ETF. Like I don't want to invest in an ETF that models itself after ARK when I could just pick the companies. Like I could invest in Tesla. I could invest straight in these companies. I don't need like why would I pay half of 1% or whatever it is annually just because it took me 30 seconds less to type in 5 tickers or 8 tickers, right? Whatever it is. Like it's the only advantage an ETF gives, in my opinion, for someone like me is if I physically just do not like, I'll give you an example, cannabis, right? So cannabis is part of my Biden trade. And I bought a couple cannabis companies like Canopy, I think I bought like Canopy and one other. But then I also kind of want to have just exposure to cannabis. It's for a really short period of time. It's like for the next 30 to 45 days. Okay. So it was really easy for me to go in and buy the cannabis ETF. Okay. I get that there's some fees that come with that on an annualized basis, but holding it for 45 days, I'm not paying hardly any fee on that. It's a really easy way for me to trade in and out of it. And the bottom line is, if I need to get out of that trade, I don't want to have to be trading out of 10 different cannabis stocks. Right now, I just trade out of 2 or 3 tickers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing it for a short period of time, but I don't like paying fees. I don't like paying other people to do something that I could so easily do myself.
Did you ever loop back on the Vail Resorts web traffic data?
Yes, I did. In fact, I'll read it to you right now. It's kind of interesting, actually. It's actually really interesting. The Vail Resorts data shows this. Let me pull it up. I thought I'm trying to take pictures every time I do this so I could remember it to talk about on the show. Okay, here's the bottom line. I don't have a picture of it, but I do remember what happened. So Vail Resorts was actually down vailresorts.com was down year over year in terms of web traffic, I think about 15% for the month of September. But what was up massively up was, what's that annual pass you buy at Vail Resorts, Dave? It's like it has its own website.
Yeah,
it's like
it's a group pass for several things.
Yeah, so basically Vail Resorts has a separate site for buying the annual pass. And the thesis is that a lot of people are buying that because they think that Vail Resorts might limit the number of people on the slopes this winter. And the way they'll limit it is they'll say, hey, we're not going to do any day passes, but if you have an annual pass, they kind of have to let you on the mountain, right? Because so that was up like 100 or 150%. It was up huge. So it really went well with the thesis that I think people were conversing about in our Discord group, which is they're going to sell a lot more annual passes, more than they ever have this year. I am totally bought in on that, looking at this data. So that's like, to me, almost a guarantee. But they might have a lot less day traffic because people don't really know if they're going to get on the mountain or not. So maybe, Dave, if they end up having the same amount of day traffic because the pandemic doesn't get that bad this winter and people end up going and all the local people ski every day, maybe that combined with the fact that all these people spend all the money on the annual pass just as like insurance could be a positive for Vail Resorts, right? I don't know.
What are your thoughts on Plug Power?
By the way, it's an epic pass is what it's called per conversation in our notes. Plug is a hydrogen play right? And so like Plug is one of these companies, they were about using hydrogen potentially for delivery, for like, long haul trucks, kind of like Nikola's doing, but also using hydrogen for like like the little dollies and warehouses and stuff like that. So I don't have a strong opinion on whether or not that's going to play out, but going into potentially a Biden election, I felt that Plug is one of those companies that would perceptionally benefit. So I added it to my Biden portfolio and I own it. And so like I'm not tracking it every day. It's just part of my Biden portfolio and I feel pretty good about it. Rocket Mortgage, on the other hand, guys, one of my worst trades of the year, right? I exited the trade. I don't have any bad feelings about it or positive feelings. I'm just not like tracking it day in and day out. I do feel that the Biden trade is going to favor more purchasing of homes, more home building, more purchasing of homes. So as far as that's concerned, maybe that's a positive. At the same time, I mean, Dave, do you think we haven't spent a lot of time thinking about interest rates in a Biden. That would be a net negative if rates kind of crept up, right?
I don't see interest rates creeping up though, because we've already heard that they're not going to creep up until we get inflation above 2.5% for a prolonged period, right? To make up for the time that has been below normal inflation. So I think
so
the market has to have already priced in. Interest rates are kind of a non-issue because they're as low as they can go unless they go negative, and it's locked in, and we're not going to have to worry about them going up until we actually have seen inflation increase.
I don't have an issue with Rocket Mortgage, and it could be a great long-term play. It's just not. Everything right now is a trade-off, and I'm tracking too many equities. I have a larger portfolio than I've ever had in my life, and it's becoming quite burdensome. So I'm not stretching to try to add things that I'm not excited about. By the way, someone in the comments, Dave, is talking about international paper. They said all the online delivery boxes. I don't really know what you mean by online delivery. Oh, boxes.
Oh,
guys,
yeah, like cardboard boxes.
That's been a thing for like the last 3 years, and so like that's just happening anyway. Like if it hasn't impacted them already, I don't know any way to arb that. The whole world knows we're using a lot of boxes. I don't see a way to arb that information. You know, the thing that I really pisses me off though, Dave, I'm really just so upset about this. I lost so much money in that Booking.com short. So much money. I'm talking about $300,000+. I exited it today.
Did you?
And I honestly, man, I want to get back in it because I really do feel that I don't know how we're wrong about our thesis of the next 60 days with the pandemic getting worse. It has to get worse the next 60 days. Booking.com has got to be a company that gets harmed by that. But you know why it's moving up now is because of the stimulus hopes, right? So I'll tell you this, guys. If the stimulus does not happen, which I don't think it's going to happen.
Don't say that. You're going to crash the market.
No, I don't think that senators are going to pass it. But even if senators don't pass it, there's still a belief that fine, like the election will happen and then it will get passed. But even if the election happens, it might not get passed till January. I mean, honestly, Dave, without stimulus, with the pandemic roaring back in Europe, you know it's going to be roaring back in the US. It's just a matter of weeks now, okay? Like, I don't know how Booking.com doesn't get slaughtered, right? At least for a few weeks. I'm really keeping my eyes on that trade. I want to get back in it. I want to short it, but I got slaughtered in it.
It's crazy how
and I'm just trying to figure out when to pull the trigger.
It's like a growth stock right now. Why? Nobody's traveling. Nobody's booking anything.
Well, hey, I'll tell you why, Dave. Because of stimulus. People are thinking that if we get a big stimulus bill in the U.S., it is going to result in some more travel. Like, I get it, like not business travel, but more travel for the holidays. And Booking.com is still trading way down off its highs. It's just like, it's a perceptional positive, right? Like everything's going to go up. And it's so beaten down, and there's so much short covering on a stimulus. So that's why I just said, you know what? I'm not going to fight it. I'm out of it right now. But I do think, I still think it's a short if we think that stimulus doesn't get done, and then it might not get done till January. Boom. I am shorting that again. Oh, a thing you have to be careful though about, Dave. We are getting very close to vaccine talk again. Very close. Like, we are literally within a matter of weeks getting major vaccine news here.
Basically, the people at CNBC just have 3 graphics on standby. Stocks up on stimulus hopes, stocks up on vaccine hopes, or stocks down on closing scare. You know, they're just on standby.
Dave,
so you're only looking at the YouTube chat right now. I have a way for you to see all of them, and I'll hook you up with that. But Laura Casey's actually watching over on Twitter right now and wants to know which cannabis ETF you're in.
Hey, what's up, Laura? Laura, for those of y'all that don't know, she was one of our core team members at Ticker Tags, and she's the greatest. Laura, let me tell you what I bought. I'll have to look through what I bought today. Orders. No, I'm looking orders. Let's see. Filled. So today, let me just look at the cannabis stocks that I bought today. MJ, Laura, I bought MJ only because it's the biggest and seems to be the most liquid. I also bought CURLF, which is kind of like one of the major North American cannabis companies. And then I bought, CGC, so which is Canopy. I didn't overthink it. I didn't do a lot of research, very little research. It's been a while since I've done a deep dive into the cannabis world.
What was the second one you said?
Sorry, that was it was
MJ.
CURLF.
I'm just putting this in the stream for my own
or something like
future
that.
note-taking, so that I don't have to write it down.
Black Diamond. Oh, they want me to check Black Diamond web traffic. I'm sorry, I should do that. Dave, let me pull Black Diamond right now, since we were talking about that earlier. We'll see how the web traffic. BlackDiamondEquipment.com, I think, is what it is. Pulling it, guys. 18 months. Take a look. I mean, Black Diamond could. I don't think the G trends was crazy strong on Black Diamond. So here's the deal, guys. Black Diamond for September is up maybe about 20% from last September. What's interesting, more interesting, I think, is August data is up much more. It's up like 25 to 30% from last August. So, I guess they do a lot of hiking stuff, a lot of mountain climbing stuff at Black Diamond. So yeah, I mean, I think Claris, they're getting back to the Claris trade. It's a decent trade. In fact, let me put my orders to open, see what's not filled. You see, I should not talk about my trades on the air until I trade them, because now my order didn't even fill on that Claris, because other people are probably trying to front run me.
I don't think you have that much influence.
I did. I just filled it. You never know. I got my opening trade on Claris. I got some. So got a little bit of Claris. What else do we have? Oh, by the way, guys,
I'm definitely a buy on DocuSign. Are you still in DocuSign?
Hell yes. You kidding me? That's a generational stock right there. By the way, I'll remind everyone right now, we are not financial advisors. So this is what we do. We want you to kind of learn the process of how we think through these trades as social arb investors. We don't know what your risk tolerance is. We know what our risk tolerance is. I know my risk tolerance. I don't know how high your risk tolerance could potentially get, but however high it is, it's higher than that. So do not mimic our trades, because I can assure you your risk tolerance is not like ours. I also know what your financial goals are. Even if I did, I'm still not a financial advisor. So do not do what we do. Dave, Shoot, here, let me get back to our YouTube so I can see comments. What else do you guys questions on? JWN. So that's interesting. That's not Macy's. That's Nordstrom's. I know JWN has been moving, I guess, the last couple days. Let me take a look. I've been reading about it, but I haven't pulled the stock chart myself. Let's see here. Yeah, it's I guess up some. Guys, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'll tell you why I don't like it. Because I feel that going into the holidays, a lot of Nordstrom isn't like just a casual shop, right? Nordstrom's has a lot of formal clothing. They have a lot of event clothing. I think women get a lot of their party dresses there. We're going into what is likely to be just November, a holiday season when you're going to do virtually no holiday parties, if any. You might do one, but your holiday party count's going to be way down. You're not going to be doing all the corporate parties. You're probably still working from home. So are you really going to spend an incredible amount of money on work outfits and stuff for the office that you would normally wear? I just don't see them being positioned that well. I know there's a big short interest. I'm not going to play that game. I didn't do a lot of research on them, but when I think about Nordstrom's, I just don't think they're positioned amazingly well for the winter pandemic winter. I just don't see it. I'm not going to short it, but I can't really get excited about it either. Right, Dave? Like, is that Nordstrom's is the last place, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at how well some of the retailers have done. But yeah, Nordstrom is not going to be on my shopping list. Even though they do have good e-commerce, I still think of them as, like, if I were going to go to the shopping mall, that might be the only place that I would go, right? And I'm definitely not going to go to the shopping mall. And you're totally right on the fancy clothes are probably not going to be selling this
I will tell you
season.
this, and by the way, someone's mentioning Funko. I am going to pull Funko here. Stock that I've traded many, many times over the years. Funko Pops. But you know where we're spending our money at our house?
What are you spending money?
Holiday decor. Dave, I'm going to take a picture of the front of our house, and the next episode.
Oh, you
flash
told me. I'm going to drive by your house today to check out your front yard.
It is ridiculous, dude. You should see the inside of my house. It's like basic. We could probably run if it wasn't a pandemic, we should be running haunted house, like holiday themed tours of our house, because that's how much stuff we have. And I think if you're going to decide, let's be honest, a lot of the purchasing is done by women in this country, period. So if you're a woman and you're going to spend your budget, are you going to spend it on clothing that you're not going to wear, or are you going to spend it on house decor that you could visually look at every day, all day for the next 5 months, right?
Your wife sent me a picture of your Halloween pajamas that the whole family will be wearing. I don't know if I'm allowed to share that.
I will not share that picture with you. Guys, Funko.com, it is up. I mean, September to September, it's up like 20%. It was up a lot in July. The last time I checked Funko was about a month ago, and I wasn't seeing anything on Twitter that super excited me, but people are saying that there's a lot of sellouts now. So I'll recheck. I'm putting on my list tonight. I will do a run by a social kind of dissection of Funko on Twitter and see if there's anything real happening there. I'll give you my opinion on Monday.
I am programming note. Monday is actually a bank trading holiday. So
okay, forget about Monday then.
We talked about doing something else on Monday, and we're not going to do a show.
Let's meet up on Tuesday for the Big Apple event.
Yeah, so we'll start Apple 30 minutes early. I want to talk about what I'm expecting from the Apple event. We'll do the Apple event. It's almost like your Funko's going to have to wait until Wednesday.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm emailing our editing team too, because we need to get the that Apple cut out. I'm going to say any update on the Apple promo.
probably watching
So we
right
need
now.
to
You
get
can
that
just ask
tweet
them.
out, guys. If you want to win your free iPhone 12, hopefully today, if not tomorrow, we're gonna get this tweet out. You have to just retweet it, Dave, right? They have to retweet the Apple promo
the tweet
tweet.
that we haven't yet tweeted from the
Yeah,
at
and then
@DumbMoneyTV Twitter account.
Yeah, and if Apple goes up like even a penny during the big show on Tuesday, we're giving away an iPhone 12. That'll be really fun. What other questions? I'm on the YouTube notes right now. Crockett says, what are you talking about, Crockett? Market's still open Monday, people are saying, Dave.
Is it? I heard that.
Yeah, just money's not going to be distributed.
Money's not going to be distributed. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it
Oh,
like some kind
now they're texting us. They'll have a cut today. It's in edit. So guys, be watching the Dumb Money TV Twitter account later today. We're gonna try to get that big Apple tweet out. You just got to retweet it. You'll get automatically entered for the iPhone 12. Big C Commerce. I just haven't done Big Commerce. I haven't done my work on it, guys. I can't comment on it. The Container Store. How is the Container Store doing? Is it still up? Is it falling apart yet? Is it still strong here? Yeah, it's up again today. It's holding itself together. As you guys know, I've half exited that trade. Halloween decor. I do want to talk about this. I forgot, guys. Halloween decor. Dave?
Yes?
I am not yet seeing it in the data for Michaels, okay, which makes me a little nervous, at least in the web traffic data. But I do think I had a talk with my wife yesterday, who is the ultimate decor person. I still think that she could have a great business. I told her, like, post-pandemic, she should have a business. All she does is she does holiday decor for people. Like, like she's a designer for holiday decor. She could do outside, inside. She'll buy the stuff. She'll just do all that for you.
Doesn't that exist as a business? I'm sure.
I don't know.
Like, I'm pretty sure you can have your house decorated. She would be amazing at it because that's like your house is insane. Although not as insane as that house like 2 blocks down from you.
She's the most famous lady, the decor lady in the world. You mean?
Yes, the one who's a major Instagram decor.
Oh man,
holiday decor
she's awesome.
explosion.
We got to get her on our show, dude. She's like, she lives 2 blocks. She's like the new Martha Stewart. But you know what?
Of themed holiday decor.
Yes,
I've not seen her.
Not just holiday decor,
yeah.
just decor. But we got to get her on the show. Like, Amy knows her. I got to have her talk to her to get her on the show. But here's the thing, God, we should get her on the show and talk about this Michaels trade. Actually,
yeah, we should.
I haven't traded Michaels yet because, like, I'm not seeing it in the data yet. But my wife did say that definitely Michaels is the place for holiday decor. They don't sell any costumes, she says, virtually no costumes. Yeah. Where Party City is like mostly costumes and like holiday party supplies and like cheap little paper products.
But
the decor is Michaels. Okay, so I'm going to research that trade more this weekend. Guys, I also have another secret trade that I don't even know if I told Dave about this yet. I haven't made the trade, Dave. I haven't even made it yet. I am researching it. I'm doing work on it. I will hope to be in a position to talk about it next week, probably middle of next week. So set your alerts for Dumb Money on YouTube, guys, and Twitter. We'll talk about it next week. Anyway, that said, I have a lot of work to do, Dave. I have a lot of research to do. I do want to talk about this one other video. You know this guy, is it Financial Education? Who is it? Yeah. Who's the guy that keeps
Jeremy Financial Education.
Planet 13. Planet 13, is that
Planet 13? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Vegas cannabis store.
Yeah. Is it Financial Education who's talking about it though? I watch a lot of his videos. I haven't seen that one.
I don't know. I think it's the guy with the crazy hat. Who's the guy with the crazy hat?
Yeah, that's Jeremy. Financial Education and Financial Education 2.
Here's the thing, okay? I told you I would look into this company yesterday, right? So if I promise I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I looked into them. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. Okay. Here's the thing. Have you seen these guys? They basically are just a store, but they're like they're like a Best Buy of cannabis on the Vegas Strip, like literally right off the Vegas Strip. So 10% of all the cannabis sales in Vegas last month came from this one store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they're like profitable. Like, here's the thing. Vegas is not the place to be right now. If I think about Vegas 2021, okay, summer 2021, and now that you have football in Vegas, I think 2021, 2022 really is going to be the big year for Vegas. I think this store is going to crush it. But also, I'm assuming they have a plan to do similar type stores in other places. They're trying not to be the seedy cannabis store. But here's the problem.
Like a superstore, big, wide aisle. They want to be the Costco of cannabis.
Yeah, but Dave, the reason why I was super skeptical, because MedMen, which was the Apple of cannabis stores, pull up their chart. They're basically out of business, dude. Like, that was a super hot company, and they're like, look at that 2-year chart on MedMen, or the 5-year chart on MedMen. Like, ridiculous. I mean, the whole company's valued at $50 million now. At their peak, they were valued at like over $1 billion, like well over $1 billion. So I just have a really bad taste in my mouth when it comes to a cannabis retailer, right?
Yeah, because the margins it's not a high margin product. It's become the price has been driven down because it's a commodity now.
Well, here's the thing, Dave. In Vegas, I think it's a bit of an anomaly because, okay, you're in Vegas. Maybe you don't even really, you're from a state that doesn't have cannabis, or you're in a party atmosphere.
You're on a debauchery vacation. That's what happens in Vegas. It stays in Vegas, and you might get a little weird.
How many debauchery vacations have we taken in Vegas?
We were just walking down memory lane last night in our group text about this particular trip. Was it 10 years ago? Where the camera roll pictures from 10 years ago were just completely amazing. And but that's what happens in Vegas. I mean, at the time on the edge of the car industry because had the software company where car dealers were our clients. And so just imagine the debauchery when you're in Vegas with a bunch of car dealers.
Oh, it doesn't get worse. It just doesn't get worse. But honestly, I think Vegas is an anomaly. So someone said that they're opening up another store, their cannabis destination. I get it. Their destination. It's great to have a destination in Vegas. Does a destination store work as well in other places? I just really don't know because it definitely, honestly, I will say this. MedMen, I went to the MedMen Santa Monica store. And it really was an Apple store. It was super cool. It was like, I was like mind blown how good it was. And they're like basically out of business at this point, right?
I remember when you did
that.
I'm
just skeptical,
you at the time were thinking, oh, this is the future. This is the only way to do it. It has to be this super clean, curated experience.
So someone says the next store is in Santa Ana, Dave. And like, I would like to see how that does, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Larry Webster says Unity. For those of y'all that don't know, maybe one of our very best pre-IPO trades ever, 2 years ago, we bought $500,000 of Unity, okay? And today, based on the current stock price, that $500,000 is worth $3 million after fees, I think, right, Dave? $3 million?
I'm not sure if that is after fees, but it's somewhere close.
It's only 10% fees, and we have ours at $13 a share. So what's 13 divided by 98? 98 divided by 13. That's 7.5 times our money times, let's say, 90% of that. So it's 6.7 times our money. So yeah, we should be at least 6.5. So $500,000 times 6.5.
That's $3.392 million.
Yeah, $3.2 million. So we made $2.5 million, me, Dave, and Jordan, off of
Unity.
that stock, right?
Unity, yeah.
Oh wait, there was a fifth person. So I have 200, you have 100, Jordan has 100, someone else has 100. So someone else in our group. So someone else, our group made $2.5 million in 2 years off of Unity. And dude, I knew Unity was going to be good, Dave. I didn't think it was going to be that good.
Well, and it continues to be good. You got nervous when it first IPO'd and hit these crazy highs, and we're trying to short the shares to lock in your profits because the pre-IPO shares that we have were not allowed to sell for a lockup period. Was it 180 days or something? And so you wanted to like protect your gains. At this point, it's back to its 52-week high.
Yeah, it's rather unbelievable. It really is. Unity is unreal. Oh, Flex. What's Flex? Guys, I don't even know what Flex, the symbol. I think they're saying symbol. Are they saying that we're
limited? I don't know what that means. Oh,
no, I think they're saying we're
what you did is a flex.
No,
a trade flex.
You asked about it. You asked about Unity. I just told you about the 300K I lost in on that Booking.com short. Dude, I mean, what can I say? We're killing it this year. We're killing it. It's insane. Honestly, guys, this year is insanity. Insanity.
And an anomaly. You've done well historically, but this year is unlike anything you've ever seen, unlike anything I've ever seen. I'm so glad that
I don't even know
I'm so glad that YouTube is our only job right now, because could you imagine like if you were working and didn't have time to invest?
I would implode. You know, Dave, you know how I get when I'm like, if I'm on a family vacation and I'm at like Disneyland or something like that, and there's like a major market event, and I have to take breaks to like go check what's going on to make sure I'm not missing a trade.
No, I was on vacation when this all happened, and I ended up, Megan was like going down to brunch and stuff, and I was just staying in the room until I got all of my trades in, figured out what was going on, and then I was able to have the second half of the day be a vacation.
Dave, what do we do about the pandemic? I mean, the numbers are getting crazy in Europe right now. Like, absolutely crazy. It's going to get, like, we've know been saying
it's going to get worse before it gets better, right? We've been saying that since the beginning of time.
A lot worse. And I just... That's why Peloton's doing so well today, by the way. Up 656 now. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Whew, man. I don't know. Obviously, guys, I'm keeping Peloton and Amazon. You kidding me? If the market crashes, will you keep? Absolutely.
If the market crashes, that's what you are so on margin right now that I don't like that, because you don't have any more buying power if the market crashes. If the market crashes, that's when I go on margin and I'm buying stocks at cheap prices. That's what I'm looking forward to. If a market crash happens, I'm ready.
Dave, I told you I'm getting rid of the rest of that $5 million, the other half of the $10 million SPY position before market close today. So I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm going to get out of that. I'm not doing anything crazy here. If the world falls apart Saturday night, it's not going to be pretty, but it won't be like super catastrophic either at the same time. So I think we have a good fairly defensive portfolio. Did you ever get into XPO, Dave? I really do like that trade here, especially if we get stimulus. I really like it.
XPO Logistics.
XPO, which is the a logistics company.
Yeah. I did not get into that. I like the thesis on it, but no, I'm not in
it. So guys, people are talking about deep in the money puts. Yeah, I mean, I was doing that stuff back when the pandemic hit. If the market crashes, I'm going to miss it. I'm only going to invest if I think the market. I'm only going to buy them if I anticipate that happening.
Exactly.
I don't anticipate that happening.
And you weren't buying them in advance of the market crashing last time. You were buying them as the market was crashing, thinking it's crashing. It's going to get worse before it gets better. There's no reason for the market to go up right now. It's going down. I'm not going to even try to pick the bottom, but I know that I want to be short while this thing is going down. We were short to the position of almost completely covering our long positions at some points, right?
Yeah, but Dave, with the government nothing matters. They'll just buy up equities. You know what I'm saying? They'll pump money.
Now,
It's
but we didn't know
the
that as the
market.
thing was completely, when the wheels were falling off and the market was crashing, we didn't know that.
Well, that didn't exist back then. That didn't start until after, right? But now that started, it's like we're playing this game of it doesn't matter, whatever it takes. It's
Yeah.
like whatever it takes, the government is going to do. Just like China did that, right? When their market was crashing, whatever it takes. So we're in an environment where those that hold equity, let's just call them the rich and the smart, there's people that are smart enough to know to own equity, get all the spoils. And it's kind of disgusting, quite honestly, for the rest of the people that don't know that, who, they're not watching shows like this. They're not educated to understanding how important it is to be invested in equity, to have that as part of your, most of the world doesn't understand that. It's like 10 to 15% of people like us get all the gains, and it's a terrible thing. I mean, I'm not going to stop doing it, but it is the way the government works right now.
You're not going to stop doing it, but you're going to try to help others just by opening their mind about how to think about investing. And that is why like literally last night I was browsing YouTube on my TV, right? As I always do. One of my own videos was suggested to me, which I've already seen, but it made me want to watch it again. And I did. And it's this how I paused the stock market and saved $1 million. If you haven't seen this video, you need to, because it is basically my strategy for how I paused the market and saved $1 million. And I made it as the market was going down, and it was halfway, the market did this giant drop and then V recovery, and now it's doing this. I made it about halfway down, right? So I was able to, at the point when I made the video, and I couldn't even remember this, and that's why when I watched it, I was like, oh wow, that was such a well-timed thing. Great job, Dave. Because I was down $500,000 at the point when I made that video and was actively then trying to hedge my portfolio. And I made money as it was going down. And then when it started rebounding, I was still long in all those stocks. I was basically just trying to break even. But because I was making money on the way down and selling out, that was all profit. And then when my stocks all recovered, all of that money that I was trying to hedge my portfolio in case the world ended, in case my stocks never came back up, I would be at break even. That was all just profit on top of what my portfolio has done once it's recovered. And that is, for me, what helped me accelerate my returns this year.
Yeah, I want to answer someone's question. They're asking me if I've done any work on Sea Limited. It's like the Amazon of like South Korea or something like that. I haven't done any work, but I have read all of the work that our Discord community has done on them, and I bought it because of that. So I own SE only because of the work that our Discord community has done. Fiverr, again, another huge call in our Discord community. I missed out on it. I don't know that there's any ability to arbitrage Fiverr right now, so I did not buy it. I don't own it. Don't have any opinion on Domino's, positive or negative. I just haven't done the work there. K12 is a stock that everyone's talking about in our Discord right now, Dave. I have more work to do on K12. It's the symbol's LRN. The issue is, it seems like, I know they had this terrible thing happen with the Miami school district where they like canceled their contract because it just was unorganized and not working well. I don't know, like the reviews don't seem very good on K12. I don't have an opinion. I picked up a little bit of K12 because the data looks really strong and the community was really pumping it and they thought the data looked great. I pulled the data for the community yesterday and it did look pretty good right now, honestly. So I picked up some K12 a little bit, tiny little bit, but I really haven't done a lot of research. I haven't done my work on K12, guys, and that's LRN. So
yeah, we talked about that back when we were talking about our education trades, the shift from in-person school to offline school, online school, and that was definitely on the list. But yeah, I did not get into K12.
Yeah. So guys, yeah, that's. Oh, I do want to talk about one more thing before we end the episode today. Yelp. Someone brought this to my attention yesterday. Yelp initiated a policy that, probably coming from a good place, where they are now going to tag restaurants that have a complaint against them for anything that is racial discrimination. And on one hand, you can kind of look at that and go, hey, you know, that's coming from a good place potentially, and that could do good things to against racial discrimination. On the other side, you know, I'm a restaurant owner, and one thing that we get a lot of are, you know, people that don't like something, and, you know, we have bad customers, right? And we always, there's like no bad customer in our world. We always treat them great. We give them free food. Anything if something bad happens, we always cater to them. Some people are so irrational. Some people are drunk beyond belief. They're angry. I mean, there's billions of people in the world, right? They try to get revenge on restaurants, and not even revenge. They just pour out their anger because something happened that they didn't like. A person looked at them the wrong way. You know, a waiter looked at them. Like, we have 65 employees. We train them. We manage them. When they don't do a good job and they do something bad to a customer, we'll terminate them. But it's impossible to be perfect all of the time. And, you know, the thought of someone saying, hey, I was racially discriminated because whatever reason, and we're doing everything we can as a company, as an organization, to do the right thing, to make it right. And now Yelp is going to, I don't know how they're going to monitor this, how they're going to know if it's true or not, right? We're a small business.
I haven't looked fully into it, but I believe that basically as a part of posting a Yelp review, you can now just say it was a racial incident, and then do they basically stop taking reviews of that place and just put up a warning on the restaurant?
No, I think they just put up the warning, and so like you get, it's like a scarlet letter. And here's the thing, like let's take my restaurant out of it. I just know how restaurant owners think. I know how they are. I know how they feel about Yelp already. You know, Yelp is looking to get into more restaurants with, you know, booking engines and advertising, premium advertising. This could be a negative for them in terms of their client base being restaurants who pay them money. The thought is that I know a lot of restaurant owners that I've spoken to have been like, hey, us getting too many Yelp people in here. Like, when we advertised on Yelp, we ended up getting more Yelpers in our restaurant, and by nature, random bad Yelp reviews, because Yelpers, people that are super active on Yelp, tend to, it's like their careers, like giving a bad review or whatever, being a professional reviewer, a quasi-professional reviewer. Restaurants, I think, might be like, hey, we want to discourage having Yelpers in our restaurant, because the more Yelpers, the more likelihood that someone's going to lash out at us and now use this tool. They could have been, you know, a white person that nothing happened to, but they just want to use this tool to try to get at us or something, right? And so I could definitely see restaurants pulling ad dollars from Yelp. I can see restaurants taking that approach. So it's something that I'm looking at. I haven't shorted Yelp, but I'm just looking at it. I'm monitoring the social reaction to this amongst restaurant owners.
Because Yelp's revenue is from restaurants paying to have special features on their Yelp listing, right? It's a free service to the consumer. And it's a restaurant supported thing. And if they're doing something that actively is hurting the restaurant's business, that's the first place. Like, for me, that was the first place we pulled our budget at the bar, because we're closed or we're at limited capacity and we need to conserve as much money as we can. There's no reason to be spending money on Yelp.
No, I agree. So, yeah, we'll see how that whole thing plays out.
Question in the chat: does anyone use Yelp outside of the U.S.? I think it exists in some places, but it is definitely, like, whenever I travel internationally, I'm always just using Google. Really, Google Maps tells me what's around me, and it has an awesome built-in review feature. So I found that that's even better than the travel-specific ones like TripAdvisor and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. This is fun. I have a lot of there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of research to be done. A lot of good tickers being discussed in the Dumb Money Discord community. You guys are doing a killer job. Keep it up. We'll do our part. We'll be back here next week right?
Yeah.
To and by the way, that Apple, watch our Twitter account, guys, today for the Apple promo video, and retweet, please, and let's get that. Let's have a really fun episode on Tuesday. Let's give away an iPhone. Should be cool. I know Dave's going to be counting the minutes down to that episode. It's his big day of the year. So.
It is. I'm very excited about it. We need to confirm whether or not the stock market is open for trading on Monday. I'm just checking here. I've got the NYSE hours. It is open, I think. May.
All right.
Memorial
Maybe we'll
Day
do
is
something on
closed,
Monday.
Independence Day, July, August, September 7th. We were closed for Labor Day. Yeah, we're open every day until Thursday. So or Thanksgiving. So we will be back on Monday with some exciting whatever you were following up on Monday. What are we doing on Monday?
I don't know. We'll do something. Listen,
We'll do
there's going to
something.
be so
but the
much
big
happening
episode
over the
that you
weekend.
have to subscribe for is my big episode on Tuesday when we watch along with you to see what the new iPhone 12 is going to be. I have my suspicions. I think I know exactly what the phone is going to be. We're going to find out if I'm right. We're going to find out if it moves the stock, and if it does move the stock, we're going to give one of you guys a new iPhone 12. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at DumbMoneyTV and look for that tweet that's going out today. It'll be a video tweet that says retweet this tweet. So retweet that tweet and then you're qualified. And watch the show so that you know if you won or not. And while you're here, hit the like button on YouTube, subscribe, bell, all those good things. Listen to our podcast. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on all the podcasting platforms. You know what to do. Just do the things, like the buttons, click the things, and we will see you again bright and early sometime, unscheduled, to be determined, on Monday.